Okay, let's get started. I'd like to say hello to everyone and welcome you to this program at the University of Arkansas Small Business and Technology Development Center. We are so happy to present these educational programs to help small businesses. As we said a minute ago, we will be recording the webinar for ASBTDC educational purposes, and as an attendee, you will be emailed a copy of any presentation used, and this recording will be on our website later this week at asbtdc.uart.edu. My name is Julie Preddy. I'm with the ASBTDC, and I'm here with our presenter today, Chris Case, and we'll let Chris tell you a little bit about herself in just a moment. If you don't know about the Small Business Development Center, we're a one-stop shop for startups and existing small businesses. We're associated with the University of Arkansas and affiliated as well with the SBA and statewide ASBTDC, as well as a national network of over 1,000 small business centers. Locally, we offer free one-on-one consultations and programs just like this one that cover relevant topics for business owners. And if you're not already a client, we encourage you to visit us at asbtdc.uart.edu. So today we're bringing you powerful presentations in PowerPoint. This is a webinar and we encourage this to be an interactive session. So please engage with Chris on the Q&A or on the chat. And I am going to go ahead and introduce our presenter, Chris Case, and let her tell you a little bit about herself and about the presentation today.
Okay, great. Thank you, Julie. Hi, everybody. My name is Chris Case, and if you had taken some of my other Excel classes, you will know that I love the Microsoft products. Excel would probably be number one, but PowerPoint would be a very, very close second. So like before, what I want to do is I want to show you a lot of what PowerPoint can do. Don't worry about the steps. That's what I'm here for. I can, you can email me. You know, we can chat on the phone. I can help you with the steps, but there's a lot to PowerPoint that people don't know, and it's really powerful to use in meetings, and even, you know, for receptions, for a graduation, anything like that. Just have a PowerPoint slideshow going, and you can watch it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I already actually started PowerPoint. And so this is what will happen. But I did this because I wanted to make sure that it worked and we were in on a new slide. But what it will normally look like, let me just do this. When you open it up, it's going to, when you start PowerPoint, it's going to look like this. Now there's a whole lot of templates that you can use over to the right and themes. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and click on blank presentation, and it will bring me right into my very first slide. Now, I'll get to all this stuff over on the right here shortly, but Julie, I just wanted to make sure. Can you see my slide okay?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, great. Okay, so let me just kind of go over some of the screen parts, and I apologize for any of you guys that have already used PowerPoint, but I just want to, again, point some things out and kind of my shortcuts of how I do things. So at the very top, you can see that you've got your title bar, and it tells me that I've got presentation 2. That's the name of it because I have not given it a name yet. And then right below that is your menu bar with all of your ribbons. So right now I'm on the home ribbon, and that's a lot of your common buttons that you'll be using. I use a lot of these buttons and a few on the other ribbons, but this is my main go-to ribbon. Then we've got the insert ribbon. And I'll talk to you about inserting pictures. We'll insert shapes and icons and even link to some stuff. Then you've got the drawing. I do not use this ribbon a whole lot. Maybe some of you guys are better artists than me, so you might use that. The design, I'll show you a lot about the design. One of the things PowerPoint did here recently is they built in a lot of already pre-designed features for you. So you don't really have to get too creative yourself. You can create an amazing PowerPoint without really knowing too much of the background for the design options. We will talk about transitions, and then transitions are of a slide. So I'll talk a lot about transitioning a slide in, rolling that in from the last slide. Animations of different objects that are on your screen and on your slide. We'll talk about this. And then you've got the slideshow, review, view, and then recording. Okay, so I'm not going to really touch on all of those last 3 ribbons, but we're going to do everything we need to create a really powerful PowerPoint for you guys to use. So let me go back here to the home ribbon. And if you'll notice right now, I've got a title slide up. PowerPoint in Microsoft, that's the default. So when you start PowerPoint, it will automatically bring up this slide. It's not a big deal. We can change it if we want to, but for now, what I'm just going to do is I'm going to create, pardon my typing, but I'm going to create just a PowerPoint for my goals of 2022. And I'm just clicking. So I'm just clicking, if you'll notice, from box to box. In PowerPoint, everything is a text box, and you'll really understand text box and the advantages of those. But you don't just click on the screen and start typing. You've got to have a text box. So when we started this presentation with this title slide, I automatically had the top 2 text, the top text box, excuse me, that's hard to say, and then the bottom text box. I'll show you later on how we can add more text box if we want some information around here and so forth. But just know with PowerPoint, everything in PowerPoint is a text box. I'm going to go ahead and create a new slide. And so I'm still on my home ribbon. If I go to this button right here, it says new slide. If I click on the top part, it's going to just automatically add the slide that it thinks I want to add, which is correct for this one. But sometimes it might not do that. So if this is not the slide setup that I want, I'll just make sure that I'm on that slide button over here, and I'll just hit delete. So I can delete it from this overview, outline view over here on the left. So if I come up here again to the new slide, I can click on the bottom part of that, and here's all your different slide options. I really don't get too picky about this part because you can change it even after you've created a slide. But my number 1 slide that I love to go to is the title and content. So I'm just going to click on that. And that was the slide that it happened to automatically add for me the last time. So what I'm going to do again, notice there's 2 text boxes. There's this one that says click to add title, and then the lower one, click to add text. So I'm going to go ahead and click to add title. And this is going to be my first quarter goals. And then I'm going to come down here and click again, and you can use your arrow keys. And if you're more comfortable with the keyboard, I've just usually in PowerPoint have my hand on the mouse. So my first quarter goals are going to be employee surveys. And I'm just hitting the enter key. Leadership training.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
The screen, we're seeing the click to add title, but we don't see any movement. It's not.
Let me do, now that's strange.
It is.
Let me do this. Let me stop share and share again, because in Excel, it works seamlessly. So let's see, I'm going to stop share. Let me come back to you and reshare. Okay, how about that? Can you see first quarter goals?
Yes, we see it now.
Okay.
If you don't see it on your screen, if you'll just put in the chat that you don't see it, but it looks like it's fine.
Okay, so if I go back up here and click on my title slide and it says goals for 2022, can you see that I'm switching from slide to slide? So you should be seeing, Julie, goals for 2022.
Yes, that's what we're seeing.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to keep talking my way through this. So if you guys aren't seeing what I'm doing, make sure to let me know. So here again, my first quarter goals, this is my second slide, and my goals are employee surveys, leadership training, and then I'm going to come up here and click in there because I want to add another bullet, and I'm just going to hit the enter key, and then I want an all hands meeting. Okay, so again, you can see that I've got the two different text boxes. One thing on the screen too that I do use a lot of is if you'll go down here to the bottom right-hand corner, these are the different view options. The two that I really toggle back and forth from is the one that has the 4 boxes in it. That's the slide sorter view. And I'll show you that in just a little bit when I add a third slide, because it'll make a little bit more sense. And then my preview. So if I click on preview, I can click on that, and this is what my presentation will look like when I'm actually walking through it. So I'll do that quite a bit. Then I just hit the escape key to get back into PowerPoint. But again, with PowerPoint, here, let me add another slide. Let me walk through one more slide and make sure this is really working. So I'm going to come up here and just click on new slide. Again, I love the title and content because it has my title and then the bullets, and I'll be able to change those bullets in a little bit too. But I'm going to click on that. And this is going to be employee surveys. And notice right here, I misspelled employee and it's got the squiggly red line under it. That's just the same like in Word or Excel. It's just telling me that it's misspelled. So I'm just going to right click on that word and then select employee. Or I could manually just change the spelling and correct it that way too, but I'm a little bit lazy with that right clicker. So my employee surveys, we're going to have personal information, employment information, and then my KPIs. So just those are the 3 things that I'm going to go ahead and have in my employee surveys. And once again, just like the indicator, like we have in Word and Excel, the blue underline is just telling me that something is grammatically wrong with that. And usually I do right click because sometimes I don't get what they're saying, what's wrong with it. But if you'll notice, it's telling me I need an apostrophe. So I'm going to go ahead and click on employment information. Okay, just like in the other programs, if you want to save it, what I do is I come up here to File. And then again, the difference between save and save as is the save and save as, the first time you save it, are the same because it doesn't have a name. Your computer doesn't know that it's been saved. So these two options, save and save as, actually do the same. So I'm just going to click on save. And I'm going to browse to my folder where I want it to be. And I'm just going to leave it right there. And then I'm just going to leave it goals for 2022 and save. What the difference is between save and save as, and this is really helpful, especially in Excel. Now that it's been saved and it has a name, if I go and save it again, it's just going to save my updates. So the save just quickly saves my updates, and then I'm done. Save as will allow me to save it as a different name. So maybe I want a duplicate of this presentation, or maybe I'm creating, especially in Excel, I do that a lot in Excel because I'll go back in and change the second file to add maybe year 2 or year 3. So save and save as, the first time you use those, when you save a PowerPoint or Excel, it's the same action. Save as, after that, will save it as a different name. It'll allow you to rename it or save it to a different location. Okay, now to come back up here to goals for 2022. Adding text, let's say I love this, but I want to add something, maybe my email address or something down at the bottom. You will be doing this a lot. So if you come up here to the insert button, over here toward the right, it's called text box. So I'm going to click on text box, and I'm going to come down here and just click, hold, and drag. And this is going to be, I'm going to add my email address. This is my personal one that I use at home. So I've added my email address, and this is a text box. Again, I can drag around. I'm just getting on the edge of that and using the 4-way arrow. Maybe I want it at the top. Maybe I want it down here at the bottom. Okay, so you can move it around just like you do in the other applications. When you select something, it just knows you've already selected it, so it easily moves it. Now, let's say, for example, here, let's get into the formatting, because the formatting, this seems to really trip people up, selecting the cells and the contents inside of those text boxes to format. So if I click let's say, for example, I want to make goals for 2022 larger and I want to make it red. I really want it to pop a little bit. Notice when I just clicked, I clicked right here inside of goals. A lot of people assume that's selecting the entire text box, but watch what happens. If I click on B to bold, if I come over here and change my color to red, it's only changing goals. So then a lot of people waste a lot of time by coming over here and doing the same thing over and over and over again. What you need to do in PowerPoint, there's two different ways to select a text box. Notice when I click inside of it once, I've got the dotted line going around the outside. That's the first selection mode. If I hold down the control key and click again, oops, here. There we go. Let me click outside of it. Hold down the control key and click inside there again. Notice, well, it's supposed to be a solid line here. It's not working as much. Okay, usually, and I don't know, Julie, I think I'm going to have some trouble with PowerPoint today, but usually the control, if I hold down control and click inside of there, it will do that solid border. That means that I've got the entire text box selected, and any changes I make at this point will apply to everything within that text box. So now let me come over and I'm going to go to bold, going to italicize it, and I'm going to change it all to, let's say, a purple. If I want to make it larger, again, all these buttons right here for format, these are ones that you're probably used to in the other applications. They all do the same thing. You can change the font. Let me do, yep. Let me do 66. I can either use the up or the down arrow to make it larger or smaller. And then again, I've got all these other options. I use really the bold italicize. I change the font and the font size a lot, and then I change the color a lot in here. So again, if I click inside of, okay, now it worked that time. So I held down the control key to click that, and I can tell because it's a solid line around the outside. I'm in the second edit mode, so any changes I make will apply to everything within that text box. Again, if you're not like that, you'll see the dotted line. Do you see the difference there? The dotted line, again, is the first edit mode, and then the solid line right there is the second edit mode, the second selection mode. Okay, now moving on to changing the fonts and the point sizes. If you want more, because again, you've got a lot of options right here, but if you want something a little bit fancier, my mouse, there we go. Don't forget that you've got these little dialog boxes at the bottom of each one of these sections. You have a lot more options for the formatting, for example, for here, or the paragraphs. When you click on that dialog box, you can come in here and change a lot of different things about the font. Maybe you want a double a superscript or subscript, but you can come in here. One thing that I do use a lot in PowerPoint is I use the small caps. So watch what this looks like. If I click that and okay, here, let me do this one. It might be a little bit better. And do small caps. It just looks a little bit fancier, and I've just gotten a lot of compliments. Everybody asks me, well, how do you get that font? Really, you can use any font. You just do the small caps, and it makes all of the text kind of more of a fancier capitalized font. Okay, let me go on to this second slide down here. Let's say, for example, with these, I don't want bullets. I want maybe these to be numbered, or maybe a different bullet rather than the circle. Again, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make sure I'm in the second edit mode, which is the solid line. And then if you come up, you can change. There's the bullets and there's the numbering. I'm just going to go ahead and click on the number button, and you can tell now it's 1, 2, 3. If I want bullets, I can click on the bullets. If I don't want anything, I just click on the bullets again and it takes it off. So again, these two buttons you'll use quite a bit with changing bullets. Let me show you this. There's check boxes right there. You can actually, as you're presenting, you can actually use your presenter and put little checks in there. Or maybe you want the check marks right there. So again, I'm in the second edit mode, and I'm just coming up here and changing the bullets and the numbers. Okay. Julie, do we have any questions on the formatting so far?
Not so far, Chris. You must be doing a
Okay.
good job of explaining it.
Well, there's just so much in PowerPoint that I think if you guys kind of see that you can really make it fancy, and we're going to really make it fancier in just a little bit, but that you can really make your PowerPoints really stand out and be professional the way that you want them to. Now, right now, you know, just keep in mind, this is not the most professional PowerPoint I've ever done, but I'll go in and change that in just a little bit. Okay, so let's say, for example, now you want to start entering in or inserting maybe photographs, maybe shapes, maybe images. What you can do there is, remember I said this insert ribbon, you will use this a lot. The home ribbon I use the most, the insert ribbon is my second most, because in here is when you can really come in and you can insert tables, you can insert pictures, maybe even a screenshot, shapes, and so forth. Let me first do the pictures, because I do add a lot of pictures in my PowerPoints. One of the rules in PowerPoint, though, is try to keep everything to 3. That is really key, because it will get really, really busy. I mean, even going back here to my first title, this is even really too much because I've got 3 completely different fonts in there. Okay, what I try to do is just 3 of everything. So only 3 colors. If you're going to put an image in there, you're going to only want probably 3 text boxes. You just don't want to make it too gaudy. One of the things with PowerPoint that just came out probably 5 years ago is people started really creating PowerPoints with just one word on them. So then they can kind of, especially if they're presenting, it's up to the speaker then to fill in all the information, and it's just kind of the one word to make the impact. But let's come down here, and I'm going to insert a picture, and I've got 3 different options. I can either insert a picture from my computer that I've saved on my computer. I can enter, and this is what I usually use. They've got a lot of legal stock images that you can use, or you can go out to online pictures. What gets people in trouble, though, with the online pictures is a lot of those are copyrighted. So you're going to get yourself in trouble, and you will get, you know, I've seen people get caught doing that. So you don't want to go out, and if they've got trademarked and they've got a legal ownership to them, you really don't want to use images like that. Your safe ones are your stock images. So I'm going to click on stock image. And then again, there are literally hundreds of images that you can use. But here, let's say that I want to use something about people at work. I'm just going to type in something that I'm looking for. Here's all of my images, people at work. So I'm going to go ahead and find one. I'll just go ahead and click on this, click on insert, and there's my image. Now, what it does do is it will automatically now take up the whole screen. If you've got an older version of PowerPoint, it didn't do that. It would come in a little bit smaller. Why it's doing that is, and I'll get to this in just a little bit, but these design ideas over here, they're really pushing you to use some of the really professional designs that they have in here for you to use. But let's say I'm not there yet. I don't want to use those. So I'm going to click on this image. And notice again, in the corners, I've got all of these edit boxes. Here's one of the best tips that I think I could give. If you just resize this like this, it is not going to probably have the best resolution, even if you do it like this. What you want to do is you want to hold down the Shift key as you resize it, and then it keeps it proportional. It keeps the resolution good. It keeps everything the way it's supposed to without making it fuzzy. So again, all I did was click inside of the image. I hold down my Shift key, and then I get myself on one of those edit buttons, and I'm just going to resize it by clicking, holding, and dragging. And then I'm going to move this. Remember, the 4-way arrow will allow me to move that. Okay. So again, I just came up here to my insert button. I inserted a picture, a stock image. I selected what I wanted is the stock image. Let me just say I'm going to add a dog in there for whatever reason. I click on the image that I like, and then I click on insert. And then notice the edit handles are already around it. So I'm just going to hold down my shift key, grab one of those little guys and just resize it. Something else in PowerPoint that I really want to point out is when you click on something, especially an image, a picture, a shape, automatically, and this is, it kind of eludes people at first, because what happens is an additional ribbon pops up. So right there it says picture format. Anytime you click on an object that you've inserted, see if I click outside of it, that ribbon goes away. If I click the image, then picture format. And under picture format, here's all the different things I can change about that particular picture. One thing I do a lot of is I do a lot of cropping. So when you guys add pictures, again, don't worry about the steps. Just know when you get a picture in there, you don't have to get stuck with that picture. You can crop it. You can change the effect of it. You can do a border around it. You can really edit that picture, even though it's one you haven't created. You can really edit that. So I'm just going to click on this, come over here to crop. And when I do the crop, notice now I've got these little tiny black edges around there. So I want to kind of crop some of this junk out right there. So I'm just going to come over here and I can tell with my mouse that I'm on that cropping button and drag it over. And then I'm just going to hit escape. So it just accepts that change that I just made. So again, I just clicked on the image, I clicked on the crop button, and then I'm going to crop maybe some of this side out for some reason. There we go. And you can also click outside of it too. I always my hands are always up by the escape, so I'll hit the escape. Now to change some other things, I'll click on this. I love to put borders. So I'm going to click on the drop down arrow up here under my picture styles. And one of my favorite ones is this one right there. It's called the Bevel Rectangle. Notice what it does. And look at how pretty that is. I'm going to resize it so you can see it a little bit better. Again, it just kind of puts a little bit of a shadow on it so it looks 3D a little bit. It bevels the outside of it and it looks really nice. Okay. One other thing I wanted to show you before I come over to these designs, because this is going to be really key. When I am hired to do a PowerPoint or a presentation, what I do is I'll come in and I'll just start hammering out the slides and putting the information on there. After I've got the information on there, I'll then go back and kind of tweak it and add formatting and add designs and all that information. But let me add, here, I'm going to click on this other slide. Let me add a shape, because a lot of times I add shapes because I want to circle something. I want to put maybe parentheses around something. So I'm going to come up here to insert. And the other button, my most common ones I use are pictures and shapes. So I'm going to click on shapes, and here's all these different shapes. One I love to use, let me do the arrow here. Let me do this, because then you'll see. So I came back to my second slide, and then I'm going to do my shapes. These little arrow buttons right here, I'm going to click on that, and I'm just going to click, hold, and drag. And for some reason, I want to just point to this dog. In my presentation, I want that to come up for whatever reason. Again, remember how I said, if you want to change anything about the editing of shapes or pictures or images that you insert, when you click on them, there will be an additional ribbon that comes up at the top right. Now here's my shape format. So I can come in here, click on that, and I can change my shape to anything I want. Maybe I want, here, let me come to shape fill. I want the inside to be red. And then I want the shape outline to be purple. So you can come up here and change anything you want about those shapes. Let me just move it up a little bit so you guys can see it a little bit better. Okay. Now, if I want to delete that, I again just click on it and hit the delete key on my keyboard, just like you do in all the other programs. Okay. So again, I know this isn't very pretty, but we've got 3 slides up here. And this is the information that I want. And now what I want to do is I want to add a little bit more, the design. I want to make it a little bit more professional looking. And like I said, Microsoft has put in and has available to us so many different real professional designs that we can use for free. There's no trademark, copyright, nothing legal on these. We can use all of them. So since it didn't automatically come up, I'm going to come over here and click on my design ideas. Sometimes it will come up and say, I don't have any ideas for you. And so there's something in your PowerPoint slide that's picking up that it's not going to be able to put it in a design. So we can figure out that together if it gets to that point. But let me kind of scroll down here. And here's some designs. And I can even go to see more designs. I mean, I can go on and on and on and get as many as I want. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scroll back up there, and I'm just going to go ahead and click on this design. So then when I click on the next slide, here's some other designs. And let me click on this one. Look at how nice that makes it and how professional that makes it. And even though, you know, I've got the pictures there, I don't like maybe how little it made the text. I can still come in and make that text a little bit bigger. I can still edit anything about this. It just kind of set up the format and the template like it thinks I want it. And then here's my last slide. I'll click on that. And notice what it's doing too. It goes off a lot of times the other designs that you've used. Since I selected one that has yellow in it, it automatically now is picking up on that yellow. So it's saying, okay, obviously that's going to be her theme. So it's pretty smart. It starts picking up on stuff that it thinks you want. So I'm going to go ahead and click on employee surveys. And there's my PowerPoint so far. Okay. And again, I can still move this around. Maybe I want that over here. Maybe I want this down at the bottom. Even though it puts it into a design, you can still go in and kind of change it and make it your own. Okay. One of the things, if you guys are going to be presenting, one of the best things that you can do is enter notes in each one of these slides of what you want to say. So down at the bottom here, I'm on the slide, the title slide. If you come all the way down to the bottom, you'll see that I'm on a double-headed arrow right there. I'm going to drag that up. I like seeing the notes area because this is where I'll type my notes. Welcome and house cleaning. So when I'm giving a presentation, I can actually see, because I'll have it on a dual screen, so I can see what I wrote and I can actually present from the slide. And again, you come down to the next one and here's my notes area. So I always add the notes, and it might be stuff I want to remember to say. It might be things, maybe my speech is in there, might be contact information, but it's just a great reminder to be in this notes area and add what you need to add. And then again, let's say that I'm all done. I've already saved it one time, but I want to update. So I'm just going to come up here on that save button, and it looks like it does absolutely nothing. But remember, I gave it a name already, so it's saved. So it's just going to save my updates. I didn't do save as, which will allow me to change the name or save it to a different location. I just saved it. Control S, for those of you guys that were in my Excel class, don't forget the keyboard shortcuts. Control S will also save if you want to just periodically go throughout as you're adding more information. Okay, so here's my slideshow. Again, it's not the fanciest one that I've done, but now I want to present. I want to see what it's going to look like as I present it. Again, down here at the bottom, these buttons are the buttons that I use. I know you can go up to slideshow, but it's just a shortcut for me. So I'm going to click on this little presentation button, and I'm going to go, okay, this is looking good. I'm just clicking to go through all of them. Okay, perfect. You can also use the page up or the page down on your keyboard. Okay, so I'm just going to hit escape to get out of there. And if you want to, because a lot of times when I'm doing a PowerPoint, I'll just enter in the information, but as it flows, I might say, okay, I need to move this around a little bit. Now, this is a small presentation, so it's not a big deal. I'll just click and hold and drag and then drop over here on the left-hand side if I want to move a slide around. I'm just click holding, dragging and dropping. But remember I said down here, this slide sorter button at the very bottom, if you have a larger presentation, if you click on that, it's going to show you a bunch of slides at once. And it's so much easier there to kind of move slides around because you can just see, you'll be able to see 12 or more slides at one time. So the slide sorter view is what I use to move my slides and rearrange them in the order that I want. So let me come back down to the normal, that very first button. And I'm right there with all the normal view. Let me add this, and then I'm going to stop again for some questions. But one of the things that really makes a PowerPoint really fancy, and it really makes it look like you really know what you're doing, is when you add any motion to it. So a transition is a motion from a slide transitioning onto the next slide. Animations are when you want to make bullet points come in one at a time. So let's say I'm going to come up here to slide number 1. I want these right now. Here, let me go back and show you my slideshow. Right now, if I click, they just change. They just pop in. Maybe I want them to fade in or maybe come in from different directions. So I'm going to click up here again on the first slide. That's the transitions ribbon. So if I click on that, let's say I want them to, let me do more so you can see what that does. Here's fade. Here's push, wipe, and you can look at all these. Here's a shape, random bars. That's all I'm doing is I'm adding these, and that's the transition from this slide to the next slide. So let me show you again my PowerPoint. So when you first come up to that title slide, it automatically does that animation. And then I click, and it's still the animation, the normal ones for the rest of them. So again, if I want to maybe the second slide, I want that to maybe come in the same way. I can click on the second slide, click on random bars. I can click on the third slide, click on random bars. Okay, you can also apply to all if you want to too. But let me show you here. There's the goals, there's the employee surveys, and there's the first quarter goals. Now, even though I did that for all 3 slides, remember how I said you can really do too much and make your PowerPoint too gaudy? I usually don't have a whole lot of animation going from one slide to the other unless I'm taking a break, or maybe it's a slide that I really want to stand out and catch people's attention, because adults, our average attention is about 7 minutes. And that's probably doing really, really good for some of us that have shorter attention spans. But so there's sometimes in my presentations, there's a slide that comes up that I really want to emphasize. I might then transition into that with some movement to make that look really neat. What I do a lot is I do apply animation to bullet points. So I'm going to just click on this slide and come up here to animations. Now, again, I've got to make sure that I'm inside this text box, because this is where I want it to apply. And I'm just going to show you the fly in. So let me show you what this is going to look like. And again, I can do preview. I just always go down to my slideshow because I like to look at it there, click, and it automatically comes in. So if you guys are presenting, it's really good to do that, because it's one of those where, let me click again. I can talk about personal information and have the audience focus on personal information. Then I can talk about employment information and then the KPIs. Let me hit escape. So again, that's what the 1, 2, 3 means. This is going to come in first, this is going to come in second, and this is going to come in third. So you can even, there are so many different things you can do with animation, you guys. You can get really fancy, but again, you don't want to, if you're going to do this to this slide with the bullets, you're probably going to want the same animation on another slide in your presentation that has bullets. So you don't want to have all this different action going on. Okay. So that's transitions. Transition applies to slides. Animation applies to objects within the slides. Julie, do we have any questions before I go on? I was going to show some some ways to print audience notes.
I don't see any, Chris.
Okay. Again, you guys, there is so much inside of PowerPoint. If you guys even create a PowerPoint and send me the PowerPoint, I'll make suggestions on what you can do to really fancy it up or to make it flow a little bit better. So don't hesitate to send me, and Julie will give you guys my email address for the university when we're done with this too. So one thing too is when you do a presentation, a lot of times you're going to want a handout. You're going to want to make sure people are making notes for each one of your slides. So when you come up here to file and print, Down here under the slides, full page slides is the default, but if you click on that drop down arrow, there's all kinds of different options. And under handouts, what you can do is you can print all my entire presentation, which is 3 slides. I can print it per slide. So I'd have 3 pages to my handouts, which I don't usually ever do. But what I will do a lot of times is I'll do these 3 slides, because I'll have the slides over on the left-hand side and then lines for notes on the right-hand side. It's a great way to print out a handout of your presentation, staple it and hand it out to your audience, and they'll be able to take notes. They'll see just little miniature views of your slides on the left, but they'll have lines for the notes. Okay, so that's again, just under print, down here under full page slides, and then my 3 slides. Okay, I'm going to go back here, back to the arrow. Let me add another slide since we've still got some time. I want to show you, I'm just going to add a blank slide here. So with insert, there are other things that you can do with insert. There's so many options and so many objects. And again, make sure that you email me, because there's going to be a lot of shortcuts rather than you creating these from scratch. So for example, we already talked about pictures. We already talked about shapes. There's also 3D models. Let me just show you what that looks like. So let's say, for example, I want, let me just go up to the heart emoji. I'm going to view all. And let's say I want this one. I'm going to click on insert. So again, notice that's selected already. Look at all these other edit options that I can do for that 3D model. I can come up here and change it any way that I want to. I don't know why. None of those are really appealing, but that one might be a little cute. I'm not really sure what that one does, Julie, but it will come up with a lot of different options for you to do that. So that is, oops, let me drag that back up. Let me go back up to insert. So that was the 3D. I don't really use a whole lot of those. I've found a couple of my favorites, but the Smartart I do use a lot of. So I'm going to click on Smartart. These are all these different boxes, like a list, a process, a cycle. I do a lot of cycles. I love this one right here. Hierarchy, relationships. So what it's doing is it's automatically going to put whatever I want in there. So let me do, I'll do my cycle one that I like. I'm going to click on that. These are the colors it's going to be as a default. I'm going to click on OK. And then I can type in, I'll type in, here's all my people. I'll type in the names, and then again, I can come up here. It should have kept that color that I had on there. And so for some reason on mine, I might have been using this so much it thinks this is the one I want. But I'm going to come up here to change color. And you can change colors. You can add arrows. I mean, there's all these different options. Maybe I want to look more like a box. There's my arrows. And again, all of this was under Insert and Smartart.
Smartart is really fun to play with.
Oh, you get lost in Smartart, don't you?
Yes.
You really, really do. And again, you guys, you can also insert, you can insert a table, like an Excel table if you want to insert some stuff in there. You can insert a chart. I do a lot of charts in here. I do a lot of word art. Let me click on word art. I'm going to click on that. It's just kind of a fancier text. Let me move this down a little bit. Okay, let me go back to home. I'm going to actually make this a little bit larger. But that's word art. If I go to insert again, that's way over here to the right. That's word art. Okay, so again, under insert, you have so many different options of things that you can add to this. Just let me, and I'm not going to walk through all these steps, but you can actually insert an Excel spreadsheet in here. You can link it to the Excel spreadsheet. So if you're given a presentation, you can click on it and we'll actually take you out to Excel so you can show all the detail information in Excel. So you can do a lot of of crazy good stuff in PowerPoint to really make your presentation where when you're walking through it, you're just clicking on the options. Maybe I want to take them to a website. I can add a hyperlink to a website. And then as I'm presenting, actually show them the website, then return back to my PowerPoint. So in PowerPoint, you can really make it seamless with everything that you want to show your audience. You can also, I mean, you know, I've used a lot of these for graduations where you have the PowerPoint that's maybe loaded into your TV and pictures of your son or your daughter are coming up throughout the graduation. You can do stuff like that. A conference, maybe when people walk into a conference or your high school reunion, there's kind of a rolling slideshow. That's done in PowerPoint too. Okay, so there's a lot of different options you can do. And again, this is not my prettiest PowerPoint I've ever created, but I wanted to add in as much of those features that I possibly could. Hey, Julie, any questions? I know I've gone fast and I've gone through a lot of stuff. Any questions?
Any questions, anyone? Willie Brooks is asking for the Excel link. So should I?
How to do the?
Yes.
Okay, how to do the Excel. Okay, so let me go here. Let me add. I'm gonna add a new screen, a new slide. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have to open up Excel. Julie, let me ask, okay, if I go to Excel right here, can you see Excel? Or are you still watching PowerPoint?
PowerPoint.
Shoot, okay. Because what I'm doing, so in Excel, what I'm doing is just doing a copy. So Willie, you won't be able to see all this and I can help you if you want to email or call me, but I'm actually in Excel right now. And this is the part of Zoom I don't like, that it won't follow you from program to program, but I've selected some cells and I'm just going to do a copy. When I come into PowerPoint, which is where you guys see me right now, I'm going to come up here and do a paste special, and then it's going to be a paste link. Oh, it's not letting me do that for some reason. But if I do paste link, I might not have copied it right. I would click on paste link and click on OK. And what it would do in there, oh, that's why. Okay, let me try it again. I want you guys to see this since you're interested in this. Copy. Let me come back into PowerPoint. And again, I went back into Excel. I selected what I wanted and I did Control-C to copy. I'm going to come in here to paste special. There we go. Paste link. I click on OK. And here's the Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so this is a link. So if I go back into Excel and I change something, this will automatically update it because the two are linked. If I want to take it to where I can go back into Excel and show them, I've got to go right back into Excel. I don't know why it makes me do this every time. I'm going to come back into PowerPoint. And this time I'm going to do, again, paste special, but I'm going to do the paste link, attach hyperlink. The hyperlink is the connection. It's like a hyperlink on a website. When you click on it, it takes you to a different section of the website or scrolls you down. If I click on OK right here, so, and again, this was just the name. I didn't copy the whole thing, but here, let me click on to show you in my presentation. So here's my hyperlink. Let's say, again, I'm presenting, and Willie, this is not the best example, but let's say I'm presenting kind of at a high level. Here's all of our end of quarter numbers. And somebody asks a question and says, well, can you tell me more about quarter, maybe March? You know, can you break that down a little bit more? I'm always prepared then to click on, because I've added that link. It takes me back to the spreadsheet that I was in. Can you see Excel? Did it show you that at least? Or no? Julie, can you see Excel?
I can. I mean, I can see the Excel that you copied and pasted.
Okay, but can you see that I'm back in Excel?
No.
Or not? Okay, it's not going to work then. But so here, Willie, what it did do is when I went to PowerPoint, or I'm sorry, I went to present down here at the bottom, it allowed me, oops, let me escape here. Still thinks I'm in Excel here. But that name, if you guys can see the name with the hyperlink, when I go into presentation mode, when I clicked on that from my end, it automatically opened up that file in Excel. And then what I do there is then I'll kind of explain and answer the questions that my audience has. And then I'll come back into PowerPoint, which is usually just the icon down there on the toolbar at the very bottom or the taskbar at the bottom. And I'll go back into PowerPoint and continue on. But again, all I did was I just went to Excel. I copied the cells that I wanted, or the one cell, but I copied what I wanted to link. I came back in here to PowerPoint. And then when you went to paste special, let me show you again, because this is really key. When I came back in here to PowerPoint, if I click on the drop down arrow under paste and go to paste special, the difference there is pasting a link is going to add a link to where the two know that they exist. So if I ever update anything in Excel, it will automatically update that in my PowerPoint. Because a couple years ago, there was one file that I was using in probably 3 or 4 PowerPoints. So one Excel file that I was always having to go back to. So instead of every time I changed something in Excel and had to go back and update each one of those PowerPoints, I just created a link. So then anytime I made a change in Excel, it automatically updated my information in all 5. What you're talking about doing here is the paste link and the hyperlink. So the hyperlink is going to take you into Excel, open up that file that you've linked to so that you have all the information and the detailed data that you can answer your questions with. And again, I know that's a lot of information right there, but it's one of the neatest features that you can use. If you do present a lot of Excel information inside of PowerPoint, it's a no-brainer to either link or hyperlink it to Excel. Willie, I love that you asked that question because I love Excel and PowerPoint. You put the two of those together anytime and it makes my day. But let me know if you need help with that.
I posted your email in the chat, so if anyone needs to reach out to you, they can.
Okay. And again, you guys just know there's a lot of stuff that you can do in PowerPoint. If you find yourself recreating the wheel, or it's not looking as nice as you want it to look, or you find yourself duplicating different PowerPoints or slides over and over again, please reach out to me because there are so many time savers in PowerPoint that I can help you with.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, well, again, we'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. And I would like to encourage you to fill out a brief survey that you'll receive by email because it helps us in developing programming. And you can also find a full listing of our events and workshops on our website. You can email us here at the email address at sbdc@uart.edu. And again, Chris's email is in the chat, so you'll be able to contact her. And then you can also follow us on all the social media channels that are listed here, and also use the QR code. So there are a multitude of ways to contact us. And so we just want to thank you again for joining us, and we will see you next time. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome. Bye, everybody.